Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So I just wanted to clarify something. I had started recording and then it froze, so I had to re-record. So the red pill people are kind of at it again with twisting my words and what I've said in the past. I never said male virgins were monsters. What I meant was, I personally, due to my culture, personal experience and perspective, preference, and upbringing, would not want an older virgin. I would prefer to have somebody older than me, who could even be a divorced person, or wants a second, third, fourth wife, or he's had, breakups in his life. This doesn't mean that I'm talking about a pimp like Andrew Tate, or a player, or like some, guru or whatever. No, that's not what I'm saying. Not what I'm saying at all. It's just that I would prefer to have somebody who already knows their way around a woman's body. I don't have the patience and I don't want to teach someone what to do. That's very stressful. And you have to compare the differences between who I am as an American revert and getting paired with an old virgin. It's like giving a war horse to somebody who's never ridden a horse. I'm not saying that I have a bunch of experience. Astaghfirullah, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that the maturity level, the emotional development level, the male confidence, the testosterone, everything is totally different. And since I'm mostly in my life have been paired with very strong, very alpha men, having a more, I don't want to say softer, but somebody who hasn't crossed the threshold into manhood, this would not suit well with my personality because I'm very headstrong. I am more of a dominant woman, and this would not work for someone with my personality. And that is an honest, objective, yet subjective fact about who I am. And there are a lot of women who think like me, but they just don't talk about it. And some women will just lie and say that they want a virgin, then when they get it, they're fantasizing about Brad Pitt or Russell Crowe or some other figure. So there's a bit of hypocrisy there. And so I am always authentic and truthful, and people, because of that, take my statements and twist them and such. And yes, I am afraid of old male virgins because, to me, I find them as a threat. I feel very uncomfortable. I have a natural bodily reaction. For example, if you liked a woman, you found out she used to be a porn star, you would then not really like her. You would be like, oh, I don't want this girl anymore. That revulsion, that strong sense of like, what, would come into you. And so for me, hold on, my bird's going a little nuts. So for me, it wouldn't really work because just too different, man. So I never said they were monsters, but I can see why someone would say that. It just is an honest point that that type of mode of being is not compatible or suitable with who I am. And for me, when I see an older woman with a younger virgin man that she's found, we call that being a cougar. It's like a pervert. It's like a fetish. You have to understand, I'm coming from a different cultural perspective. And I'm sure, like you guys have said in the past, some people can't get married till they're older. You have to understand, that's your culture, and this is my culture. And we have to try to understand each other's perspectives and be more honest. The second lie is, also before I close that point off, and the reason why I made that video was because there was a Egyptian brother who was 30 plus, claimed to be a virgin, and was asking creepy questions about, can he hug my daughter? what can he be around my daughter? And I said, no, you're not allowed to hug her. You're not allowed to give her a kiss goodnight on the forehead. There is no touching. And that was my rule. And he kept saying that I was being too protective. And that raised my red flags as a mother. And lots of stepfathers molest their daughters, their stepdaughters. So I had to be protective. And since I had a background of already being uncomfortable around male virgins that are old, like if you're 14, you're 18, you're 20 and you're a virgin, I don't have the same revulsion. When you're 30, I think something must be wrong with you because you haven't found a woman. And most men can't hold out that long. And I just get afraid. Or I think you're lying. And so there's all these thoughts. And so with that individual, people were like defending him. They didn't know who he was. And they were ignoring how uncomfortable I felt as a mother. So there's context to why I made that video. And it freaked me out. And it's not wrong for me to say as a woman, I'd rather have a man who's older than me and has already dealt with the first time experience. There's nothing wrong with that. If a guy can say he wants virgins, I can say I don't want it. You see, it's just the same thing. And it's harder for men to find women today. And you have to have a bit of, how do you put it? Okay, you can't have those, all 4 women can't be virgins, so you might fall in love with a divorcee, you might fall in love with someone who wasn't a virgin, right? Especially if you're in America, Sweden, Denmark, Mexico. I mean, literally millions of women are good women who were not virgins when they were married. And so they have their past, and that is that. Not every woman who isn't a virgin is somehow this porn star. You see what I'm trying to say? That was my point. And so I hope you understand, because people took what I said, and they really just had fun turning people against me and taking what I said out of context. And the other point is someone said, did I say that promiscuous women were better than virgins? No, what I meant was that there are some men who have no problem and do not discriminate and do not hate some women who were not virgins when they met them. And Zayd ibn Thabit had a concubine, more than one. And the more I've studied Islamic history, there were harems. Concubines were a normal thing in the Islamic empires. I'm taking a class on it from the Rashidun, Umayyads, Fatimids, the Seljuks, the Mamluks. Concubines existed. Okay? And if male warriors are allowed to have what their right hand possesses, that means they're having... The statistics likely would be that, of course, not all those captives, not all those slave women are virgins. So the gene, the preference, the style, the preference, you know what I'm trying to say, is there. Now, there's a difference between, sure, in a perfect world, you could have all your 4 virgin brides, right? But women know you only have it once, and when you lose it, if you get divorced or that person dies, you still can be a good wife. That was my point, is that you don't have to have somebody who is... You don't have to have somebody who is just this ideal example, because if you put your expectations too high, you may be waiting around for somebody who may never come. And you could have the love of your life who had, a bad experience, and maybe her husband died in war, maybe he got cancer, maybe, he fell in love with someone else, so they got a divorce. You never know. That was my point. And that there are some men who don't mind having a woman who knows her way around a man's body. To pretend that every man has the same preference with skin shade, height, weight, personality. There's commonalities and generalities, but statistics show that there are plenty of men who marry good women who were not virgins, and some have some experience and some care to learn. I mean, there's books on this issue. There's people who can teach you what to do without you actually doing it with a man. I mean, I'm trying to maintain haya here, but you can get experience and learn what to do without having been passed around to 700 men. That is my point, right? That you can get experience by wanting to learn and having enthusiasm, and that you like to please your man in bed versus somebody who might be more cold and standoffish. That was my point. I did not mean that the porn stars were somehow better than a virgin. That's someone taking my words and putting it in the worst template so that they can then smear me and rile up people against me, when the hundreds of videos I have made act in my favor. They show my consistent stance on the issue. And so I wasn't making fun of old virgin men. I have my preference. And if you're struggling to find a wife, I'm sorry, but at the same time, women, we are entitled to have our preferences too. And if men can desire who they desire, that's for them. And at first it's hard to hear how some red pill people really trash talk divorced women and call them toxic waste and trash, that they're nothing, that they're a risk, that you burn your hand. That's very hard to hear as a woman, because you hope everyone can have another chance. So it's really strange to get criticized by the group who is very harsh on women when I say, I have my older partner and I have my partner. And I don't have to tell him what to do. And he's in his 40s and I'm very happy. And I like that. I'm allowed to have a preference. Now, one of my younger brothers is still a virgin, and I think that's absolutely adorable, and I tell him to keep himself pure for a good wife and to get married as soon as possible. So do you see there's balance here? There's balance here. There's nuance here. And so I never said a porn star or a promiscuous woman is better. I said that there are some men who won't mind having a second, third, or fourth, or fifth, first wife or a concubine, that she's not a virgin. See the distinction here? That's the distinction, right? So I hope you understand. I'm sorry to bring this up again, but when the trolls start spreading disinformation because of Safia Sabrine and other red pill guys, I just like to clarify what this statement is in case some people have not seen my original videos, because some of the people who react to my videos, they don't actually watch or play the whole video and keep it within context. Rather, they're seeking views and they kind of like drama, maybe they're bored, who knows, and they don't ask me directly to clarify. Instead, they assign me meanings of what they think I mean, instead of just saying, hey, can you clarify what you meant there? Because this isn't black and white. There's a lot of gray area. So I hope that made that clear. I don't want to ruffle any feathers, but some people are new to the channel and trolls may be confusing them, spreading misinformation, just trying to sabotage me again. Who knows? But that was my stance. And like I said, many women we're allowed, okay, let me put it this way. Women are allowed to have a preference for who they want to marry. I am allowed to have a preference for who I like to be with, right? Just the same as anyone in this world, that is our right. And I know for a fact I am not the only woman who thinks like this. And so instead of insulting me because you feel like I've attacked your masculinity, instead just say, well, everybody's entitled to their opinion. which is what I have done. Looking back now, how people say they want to have only virgins. It's like, okay, that's your preference. Good luck with that. It's very hard to find that, especially in America or in France, in Germany, in Canada. I mean, good luck. You're going to have to really go to the rural areas to find that. May you find it, but don't close the door to all types of love. This is my point. And yeah, so hopefully that clarifies. My little one's calling me. She wants me to see her Lego create. Sorry, my throat is dry. Wants me to see her Lego creation, so I'm going to go check out what she built with her Legos, and hopefully you all are having a good day.